so much for being here. I'm an independent author, so that means I wrote it and I hired everyone to help. I didn't have a publisher. I didn't have systems, except for my own systems. Luckily, I am good at systems. If you know about astrology, this is because I have a Virgo midheaven. Thank you. The Virgo saves. So anyway, it means so much that you're here. I put this all together myself, book and event, with the incredible Erin, who has been so helpful. So it means a lot to have you all here. So what I'm going to do today with you all, I'm going to be going over what your sexual subconscious archetype is. So there's a few sextrology books out there, but my book is the only one who goes into your sexual subconscious because that's just something that interests me a lot. I love archetypes, and when the biggest question I always get asked about sextrology is how is it different from astrology? So for me, astrology is my spiritual practice. I started getting involved with astrology when I was about 15. I'd go to Barnes & Noble and I would just read the books that I found. And I loved astrology. Astrology really helps me understand this weird human experience that we're in. And for me, whether you believe in astrology or not, I think of astrology as a way for us to understand ourselves and others. And sextrology specifically, so if you think about astrology as a spiritual practice that helps you understand the world that we're in, there's a lot of different elements of astrology that'll show you how you handle money, how you are in relationships, what your destiny placement is, so what you're supposed to grow into in this lifetime. And astrology can show you how you have sex or how sex is going to trigger you. So that is a little bit about what sextrology specifically does. And without further ado, do you guys want to hear about your sexual subconscious archetype? Yeah. So we have 12 signs to get to. So I want to have you guys ask questions if you have questions, but I probably have like 1 or 2 questions per each sign that I can answer without us just staying here all night, because I can talk about this all night. So the other thing I will say is that this book is written from the perspective of your sun sign. I did this on purpose because that's the easiest thing to look up. It's based on the day you were born. So you probably don't know a lot about astrology, or maybe you do, but you definitely know that if you were born in February, you're an Aquarius, or well, some parts of February. But what the sun represents in astrology is your identity. It tells you how your identity is activated and showing up. And that does play a part into sex. But as I go through these archetypes, there are other placements, like I just mentioned in your chart, that also inform your sex life. So as you listen to the different archetypes, if you are, let's just say, you're an Aries, but the Aries archetype isn't vibing with you, that's probably because you have a Black Moon Lilith placement that contradicts your Aries Sun placement. So as I go through each archetype, have an open mind and listen to your body. That's why we started with yoga. I already want you to be listening to your body. If at any point I'm saying something and you're like, that's me, that rings true, that's why I wrote this book. It's not to tell you who you are. It's so you have another resource available to help you understand your unique way of being you, of loving and of lusting in this lifetime. So let's jump in. All right, so should we start with Aries or should we start with Pisces? Here's the thing. If we start with Pisces, Aries is going to go last. Oh, no. If we start, I know, and Aries doesn't like that. If we start with Aries, if we start with Aries, Pisces is going to go last, but Pisces always goes last. I love you so much. Okay, so we are going to start with Pisces. And the reason is because Aries needs to learn how to enjoy delayed gratification, okay? That is hot as hell. So if you are an Aries, we're gonna delay your orgasm of knowledge. Which is very fitting because the Pisces sexual archetype is the cosmic orgasm. Now the reason being, and the reason why Aries begins and Pisces ends the zodiac is because it's a calendar system and it represents a year in our life, and every single astrology sign represents a different time period in your life. Because remember, all astrology is just a way to understand what life is, just like any other spiritual practice. So Pisces represents the end of life. They represent the spiritual sage, and that's why they are, in my opinion, my professional opinion, the cosmic orgasm. It's because they're always looking, and especially with sex and sexuality, how to connect and understand what's happening in the heavens and what's happening spiritually. This is a very spiritual astrology sign. Now, you'll come across Pisces who are not very spiritual, but they are extremely creative. And what's really fascinating is when you study the chakra system, creativity, sex, and money go through the same chakra. So, if you are a Pisces but you're not particularly spiritual, like my dad, I bet that you're super creative, which tracks. My dad's an artist. So that's a way that you're going to start connecting to your sexuality as well, is through either being creative, introducing novelty, trying new things. Is anybody a Pisces here? Rising. Yeah. Ooh, Pisces rising also counts. That is another identity placement. So does anyone have any questions about Pisces and how Pisces are in the bedroom? Or if you're dating a Pisces, or you want to date a Pisces, they can be hard to pin down. They're so creative, they are great in bed. Any questions?
Which chakra was it?
Sacral. If you have money problems, you might have sex problems. Or blocks, I should say blocks, because I don't believe in problems necessarily. I believe that we get through our obstacles and we find out how to heal ourselves, and that's why we're here, right? Yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. Yes, question. I love that. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It shows you how you talk or how you need to be spoken to. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and lust. It doesn't show you how you are when you're in love long term, but it does show you how you fall in love. And it also shows you what kind of things you value and like. So you want to know how to be with, like how to talk to them, what was the question again?
How do you navigate that?
Yeah. Well, first off, a Pisces with a Pisces, or someone with a Pisces Mercury, the way they communicate is going to be pretty soft and indecisive. So making decisions for them can actually be quite helpful. You're not being bossy. And then with a Pisces Venus, take them on spiritual outings or retreats or museums, things to be creative, like that place Color Me Mine, where you get to go and play with your hands. Yes, it was. Oh my God, tell me I know astrology or what? But yeah, being creative. And being creative can mean so many cool things. You can be creative in the bedroom, paint on each other's bodies. Also, by the way, it's extremely healthy to cuddle naked with your partner and do that on a regular basis and express that just because you're naked together and cuddling doesn't mean that sex is expected. Oxytocin is something that is really healthy that we need in our bodies. You can actually buy pills for oxytocin, which just I don't think we should be doing, because you can also just like get cuddles or hugs and get oxytocin. So another way to connect with the Pisces is to do lots of cuddles, lots of naked things, tantra. But again, I think it's really important when we introduce fun, naked play that we also give ourselves permission to recognize that this doesn't mean we're going to have sex. This isn't the green light for sex. This is us playing. And that can also relieve a lot of pressure, too, when you want to connect with your lover. Thank you for that question. Any more Pisces questions? Yeah.
Kind of more general. So you said Venus is how you fall in love, but not necessarily long term. What
Long-term romance is actually going to be in the houses. So that is your 7th house, the house of relationships. What type of relationship style is best for you? Monogamy, non-monogamy, being open, changing from monogamy to non-monogamy depending on your partner. Someone with a Pisces in their 7th house, again, that indecisive piece, it's not that they're indecisive, it's that they want to taste everything. They have a thirst for knowledge and they're very creative. So it would be your 7th house, actually, that you would look at for that. And see what planets are in your 7th house. Because your planets, they're going all around, but the houses stay stagnant, and you can kind of see if there's a bunch of planets in your 7th house, in this lifetime, you're meant to learn a lot from relationships. But if there are no, I'm someone who I have no planets in my 7th house, but it's fine. I have a great life. We're doing good. But it just means that in this lifetime, that's not going to activate me very much. So that's a great question. Any more before we move on to the next sign? Yeah.
Say you're Pisces.
Yeah.
What signs should you be drawn towards?
Yeah. Well, you'll be drawn towards the ones that you shouldn't date, for sure. Classic Pisces. But in terms of compatibility, other water signs like Cancer and Scorpio would be really incredible. Virgo is another good one. Virgo and Pisces are like yin and yang in astrology. They're a soulmate level match. So Taurus as well, for sure. Taurus is a good one. Earth and water. And then surprisingly, Aries, which is a fire sign. Pisces and Aries, I have seen that combination so many times you think it wouldn't work, because you have the spiritual sage with Aries, who starts off the zodiac, so they represent the child. Impatient, but we love them. Who doesn't love a kid? But you'd be surprised. Aries and Pisces can really go the distance as well, because they bring so many different things to the table.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, our next archetype. Oh my God, Aquarius. Ugh. I love Aquarius. Not everyone feels the same way, but it's okay.
Friends to lovers.
Friends to lovers. So Aquarius is the friendship slut. That is not their sexual subconscious, but that certainly is an Aquarius way of life. So Aquarius's sexual subconscious is the mischievous pleasure saint. And the reason being is when you look at archetypal astrology, so this is how psychologists look at astrology, which is really interesting. Aquarius is the humanitarian, the rebel, sort of like the rebel with a cause. They don't want to follow the rules, but they will only do something if it's in service to the community, in service to others. And so when it comes to being sexual, they're quite mischievous. They kind of want to push the buttons and see how things can go, but they also will always be your friend about it, because they value friendship so much and they value community so much. So this is an astrology sign that is always like motivated by helping, and that'll really, and innovation. They are ruled by the planet of technology. So buy them sex toys. Lots of sex toys, they'll love it. Any questions about Aquarius? Do we have any Aquarians here? Woo! Our one resident Aquarius. I know, only one, it's surprising. But one of the things that I love to think about with Aquarius that I think we can all learn from Aquarius is how great it is to be friends and have a friendship mentality when we're thinking about sex. One of the things that we often hoodwink ourselves about when it comes to sex is that casual sex is something that you don't have to like honor someone's feelings, right? And for me, that just isn't true. Casual sex is always about emotions, whether it's going to turn into something long-term or not. And Aquarius is one of the astrology signs that really understands friendship in a beautiful way. That's why they're a friendship slut. They make out with more of their friends than anyone I know. But they can also be friends with people afterwards. And that is something that we only have our one Aquarius here, but I think we can all learn a little bit of something from that. Yeah. Yeah.
So most of my relationships have been with Aquarius.
Oh my God, love.
What can you possibly think in the cosmos can that be, like in the zodiac wheel?
Yeah, so when you date the same sign over and over, it's because there's medicine that you need from that sign. And they're teaching you something. So if you're thinking of attracting Aquarians, There's themes of friendship maybe to work on. Are you a good friend to yourself? Are you a good friend to others? What does that look like? How can you be in service to your community or be more a part of a community? Maybe it's time to start looking for community, especially sex-positive community. So being here today is very Aquarius. And then also thinking about the causes and values that matter to you. If you're attracting a lot of Aquarians, it means it's time to do a value check-in. Are you in alignment with your values? And of course, this goes way beyond sex, but thinking of sex and relationships, you can start considering too your attachment theories or attachment styles and how to honor those values as well. Great question. Any other questions before we move on to the next astrology sign? It's okay. You don't have to ask questions. Oh my God, as an Aries would. Oh my God, I love Scorpios. My medicine is Scorpios because I can't seem to stop dating Scorpios. It's a good problem to have. Huh? Here we go. So after Aquarius, it's funny because I actually usually do start from Aries, so it's like I also feel like I'm out of, but I'm rolling with it. It's great. I'm so happy to delay your gratification. But the next astrology sign is Capricorn. Do we have any Capricorns here? Yes. I have a Venus in Capricorn, so that's how I fall in love, like a business person. Like, do you have a spreadsheet? So I like to think of, I like to think of Capricorn as the kinky, tender daddy. And there's several reasons for this. One, Capricorn is a super kinky sign, but they also rule the house of career. So it's a very fascinating astrology sign because I often find that Capricorns know they're kinky right off the bat, or they're not aware that they're kinky, but they know that they love power. And power play is one of the coolest parts of BDSM, either stepping into your dominant energy, your submissive energy, or switching between the two and using that to understand your relationship to lust. The other reason why Capricorn is the tender, kinky daddy is because Capricorn actually represents the archetype of the patriarch in astrology, while Cancer, the cosmic opposite of Capricorn, represents the matriarch and nurturing and all of that good stuff. We'll get to that later. But Capricorn represents going out, providing, getting shit done, making the spreadsheet of all the sex toys, and then fucking with them, okay? But this is also an astrology sign that can get so goal-oriented that if things start to go wrong in the bedroom, like not having an orgasm, not having an erection, not knowing that you're pleasing your partner, they'll be harder on themselves than any other astrology sign in the zodiac. So if you're someone who's dating a Capricorn, it's a fun kind of like moving through, like you're in your power, we're respecting the power, but also like, are you okay? You can talk to me, you can rely on me. But a super fun lover for sure. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So, like, if they do get Capricorns, right? If
Yeah.
they do get into this mode of, like, self-blame, they don't know how to get out of it, how do you help them, like, you know, not be that way?
Absolutely. Focus on the small wins. You know, one of the things that we don't really focus on enough, especially in relationships and sexuality, is the small little ways that you're winning. Like, did you feel good about your body today? And maybe if you didn't, did you feel good about your hair? What about your body is working well? You know, and that's just one example, but if, you know, sex or relationships are coming up and they're being difficult, like, focus on those little wins, because that's one of the things that Capricorn will not really acknowledge. They're so focused on the big win, on the big picture. That's why they're the archetype of the career. They often get what they want, but they don't notice all the flowers that they planted in the process. And so I'd say that's a good place to start, and going to a BDSM class if you want. Any other questions about Capricorns? Yeah.
What does it mean when your Capricorn is, your Jupiter's in Capricorn?
Ooh, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it shows you how you grow. So when you're doing things that you really enjoy and making money off of them, because Capricorn wants to make that money, you're going to be expanding. So when you find ways to monetize yourself, and then also whenever you're en route towards a goal that you love, and that can be in a relationship, that could be in any type of place. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. I have a stellium in Capricorn, which means I have like 5 or 6 placements in Capricorn. So I'm a Sagittarius, but I behave like a Capricorn, and it's, it is tiring. Thank you. Ooh, oh my God, and speaking of Sagittarius, we just got to the Sagittarius section. Do we have any other Sages in the house? Yes, Sag rising. Yep. Yes, so you may hear people saying, Sag rising or Pisces rising or na. So in astrology, your ascending is the first house. There are 12 houses, and the first house is also an identity placement. So it's very common for people to either behave like their rising sign or their sun sign, or a combination of both, which is why it's so cool to get your chart read, because the sun is just the tip of the iceberg of what you're like. And so for Sagittarius, that sexual subconscious archetype is the wanderlust, always having a lust for life, very optimistic, but almost carelessly optimistic, always on the go, always traveling, loving pleasure, loving leisure. In Greek mythology, Sagittarius was ruled by Dionysus, the god of wine, of ecstasy. So Sag can have a good time, but they can't really process their emotions that well. They're like, let's have some ecstasy, it'll be okay. Which is a fun way to go. But does anyone have any questions about Sagittarius or pleasure, since we're on the Sagittarius sign? Yes.
Question, if something's your rising, do you feel
Yeah.
it less strongly than if it was your sun sign?
I'd say you feel it as equally.
Yeah.
But since modern astrology focuses so much on the sun, we tend to really lean heavy in that area, which is fascinating because 90 years ago, there was a huge surge of astrology across Europe and the Western world, and they specifically went by the rising sign. They never even talked about your sun sign. Wow. Isn't that fun? And now today we're like, my sun, and we don't know what the rising sign is. But yeah, I'd say they're equally as important. Yeah.
I like what you said about Sag being the bisexual sign.
Oh yes, Sagittarius is the sign of bisexuality, and then Gemini is the sign of gayness. Yeah, if you have a North Node in Gemini, it means that to lean into queerness, and if you have a North Node in Sagittarius, this is your destiny placements. It means it's trying to accept your own bisexuality. Thank you, Nikki.
What's the best way to please a Sag?
Oh my God, take him on a fun excursion, or have sex in public. Or both.
Okay, so I'm a Cancer, but you just described my whole personality, so there must be Sag.
You probably have a Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius.
Okay, so.
Do you know your birth time?
What?
Everyone's got their
So what can I do to rein that in, but in a fun way where it doesn't feel like I'm restricting myself?
Restricting as in maybe judging yourself for overindulging, or restricting as in you don't feel comfortable just being in the pleasure?
No, the first thing, but also it's I learned kind of the hard way, okay, I have to I have to take my life in a direction that's productive. It feels ugh.
Yeah.
And it just, there's this ick to it.
Totally. Well, we live in a really pleasure negative society. And we also live in a society that really perpetuates whorephobia. Is anyone familiar with what whorephobia is? So whorephobia is the fear of sex workers and sexually empowered people. And it's something that is really pervasive, and there are so many ways that we feel like we either aren't entitled to pleasure or we have to tone it down, we have to be respectable. And so I would say with something like that, it's indulging consciously in pleasure. Like if you want to smoke some weed and masturbate, like before you do that, like take a moment and acknowledge, honor it. Give yourself the space for it, because we're actively taught that we're not supposed to want those things, or that the proper way to have pleasure is to have pleasure in moderation. Fuck that noise. So I would say to start just having intention, start honoring it, start, you know, feeling it in your body as well, like connecting to your body and giving your body permission verbally, like you have permission to have pleasure today. You have permission to eat this thing that you want to eat. You have permission to kiss that cute stranger. Like, who cares? You have permission to be a friendship slut if you're an Aquarius. But yeah, I would say that for sure. And I think, yes.
So for Sagittarius, if, you know, you kind of mentioned the wanderlust,
Yeah.
you know, the pleasure seeker.
Yeah.
Do they do better with a contrasting sign, something more grounding, or not necessarily? Someone who would also want to kind of run around and just have fun.
I definitely think there needs to be a level of fun, and they need to date a planner most of the time, because they're a fun sign. They love to do, they know everyone, they know what's happening, but they're not always the best planner. And so they can often date an astrology sign that doesn't seem like they would mesh together, but that other sign is just like, okay, well, you know where the parties are at, but I remembered the keys. And so it can really work well together. But then Sagittarius also just loves to go and like they don't have a lot of inhibitions sometimes, so they can get really on really well with air signs and other fire signs. They can just light the world on fire, but in a really fun way, you know, who's to say? Maybe the world does need to burn a little bit. After Sag, we have Scorpio. Oh, we love Scorpio. So Scorpio's sexual subconscious is the seductress of the underworld. So Scorpio itself, yeah, not casual, but it's okay. Scorpio is all about acknowledging taboos. It's why when you think of their archetype in psychological astrology, they're connected to the underworld. What we hide beneath the surface, but we feel very potently. A Scorpio is all about secrets, partly because they like them, but also because they kind of have a sixth sense for them, and they can really hold and carry taboos. They're also considered the seductress because they're ruled by the reproductive system when you think of medical astrology. So it's really interesting, in the 16th century, Italian medical physicians, doctors and folks like that, they started studying astrology and created this branch of astrology called iatromathematics. And it started to look into what body parts hold energy based on the stars. And Scorpio holds energies in the reproductive system and the excretory system. So, you know, penis, vulva, tra-la-la, but also how we poop and pee. So it's not always as sexy, but the reason why Scorpio holds that type of energy is because they represent transformation, death, and rebirth. Again, the underworld. So Scorpio can go into a room and sort of detoxify the room with their reproductive excretory energy. They poop out the bad energy for us. But it can also be why Scorpio is a very intense sign. Scorpio isn't for everybody, but that's probably because they know your secrets. Any questions about Scorpio? Yeah.
So if I have a large, an unreasonably large amount of Scorpios appearing in my life, that's definitely for sure.
Well, what taboos to think about? What taboos are you not acknowledging? Are you not honoring? And then also thinking of your relationship with your own sex organs. Have you ever looked at your sex organs in the mirror? You know, do you feel comfortable with them? That's another part. Scorpio is going to be very comfortable with those things. And then I saw you had a question
similar.
too.
I'm a Leo, but I don't actually identify with any of that because I already had done that, and then I would look at my life and I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of Scorpios, and Leo and Scorpio are not known for good stuff.
Yeah, it's
It's probably just
You're both bosses, that's why. But what was the question
No, it
was?
was similar to that,
okay.
like the lessons.
Yeah, looking into your own taboos, I would say.
Oh, okay. So following up on that, would you say that Scorpio is like one of the kinkier signs?
Yeah.
Because they,
Yeah.
you know.
Scorpios are very good at sex. They are very good at sex, and we are here for it. We love it. So after Scorpio, we have lovely, oh yes, one more. Oh, I'm so sorry, yes.
I've been thinking this and wondering this
Yeah.
for such a long time.
Yeah.
I had a long relationship with a Scorpio that ended,
Yeah.
and then not a little bit later, I met a Sagittarius.
Ooh.
And it's like, am I cycling through the signs?
That could be.
Am I like going
Well,
to
but
roll
you
with it?
could be because, again, like it each represents like the evolution of life. So if you were with a Scorpio for a long time and in that underworld, and then you're getting out of the underworld into the Sagittarius archetype, traveling, a little bit more lighthearted fun. And so you very well could be cycling through in that way.
And I'm a Pisces, by the way. If that
Oh, we love Pisces. Pisces and Sag is a good match.
Really?
And so is Pisces and Scorpio. Well, Pisces and Scorpio is a better match. But Pisces and Sagittarius, they're both mutable signs. So they can get along very well because they're very open-minded.
Fire and water do.
They can. I'm a Sagittarius, and 2 of my best friends are Pisces. So it can work. It can totally work. So Libra, and I'm going to have to go a little quicker because I'm so chatty and we still have half the astrology signs to go through. So I might limit it to just 1 or 2 questions per sign as much as I want to answer everything. But Libra is what we call the diplomatic hedonist, thinking of their sexual subconscious. So Libra is ruled by the planet Venus, planet of love and beauty, and Libra represents the 7th house, which we were talking about, relationships. Libra also represents contracts like marriage. So if you have a lot of Libras coming up in your life, you may be getting married soon, or like you need to lawyer up, okay? You're not learning a lesson, lawyer up. But the reason why Libra is the diplomatic hedonist is because they're ruled by relationships and communication. So they can get along with everybody. They could have a conversation in the bedroom and not trigger someone else. They have like a 6th sense for understanding others. And then they're a hedonist because they're ruled by Venus. They love pleasure. They love love. They love to be in love. And love can be such a pleasure. And you know, Kim Kardashian is a Libra. Cardi B is a Libra. Like they love a good marriage. They might have several of them, but they're living their best life. You know? Yeah. Any questions about Libras? Yeah.
So I'm just curious. So I don't have any planets in my 7th house, but my Venus and rising are Libra.
Ooh.
So is that like the counterbalance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you don't have anything in your 7th house, it means that your relationships aren't what you're meant to learn from in this lifetime. So you'll obviously still have relationships and they'll still be fulfilling, but they're not here to teach you anything. However, you said Venus and rising.
Yeah.
So a part of your identity has to do with relationships, and how you relate to others, and the contract piece. Maybe developing more contracts or getting into like making sure people know your boundaries before and not after. And then with a Libra Venus, I mean, that's a power placement because Libra is ruled by Venus. So you're going to have a great like otherworldly understanding of relationships, especially the older you get. You probably learn lessons really, really quickly. And then also just like love being in love and loving luxury. You know, Libra's a princess, so treat her accordingly. But that's a great placement to have. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have a Sun, a Mercury, a True Node, and then a Chiron all in Libra.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll talk after because that's more than we have time for in this moment, but that's really cool. And your destiny placement is in Libra, so like date a Libra.
Dating a Leo, so I'm like,
Oh, Leos are good too. We like Leos. Yeah. So next we have Virgo, the kinky fertility goddess. Virgo is one of my favorite signs in astrology, and it's because Virgo has gotten seriously shortchanged in our current historical moment. So raise your hand if you were told that the Virgo represents the Virgin in astrology. And have you ever heard that before, that Virgo represents the Virgin, for folks who didn't raise their hand? Yeah. So for the last 3,000 years, the constellation Virgo was considered a fertility goddess. And in fact, in the constellation, she's holding a bunch of grain. And in 2016, Harvard released a study that showed that grain helps people get fertile. So, you know, astrology is real. But what's really fascinating about the history of Virgo is in the 1400s in Europe, when the printing press was invented, that was when we saw a lot of indigenous and goddess-style worship and cultures just get completely erased. German and the English language and Italian and French, those languages became really solidified, and then the folklore of the Bible became really solidified. That was the first book to ever be printed, and then the second book was a witch hunting manual that actively trained people how to hunt down shamans, midwives, and doulas, and stop them from practicing a lot of the health that people with uteruses really needed. And it also made sure that information stopped being passed down about different cultures, different spiritualities, and different health practices. So it was also around that time that Virgo, the fertility goddess, became Virgo the Virgin. And in the 16th century, there were a lot of poems dedicated to Virgo. And then when Elizabeth I, the famous Virgin Queen, ran England, there were a lot of poems like that went viral for that time period, all about her and all about Virgo the Virgin. And that was really when we saw this change. So if you are a Virgo, fuck the noise about the Virgin, you're a fertility goddess. And that's part of the thing that you're supposed to be emulating in this lifetime. I have time for one question before I have to move on to the next one. Oh, okay, well, do both of you.
How to best make a Virgo feel happy and safe in a relationship?
Well, try to figure out how you can take things off of their plate. This is an act of service type of lover. They are very organized. They are always thinking 3 steps ahead. So if you can figure out ways to take things off their plate or show them acts of service, like driving them to the airport, or for their birthday, instead of getting them something expensive, get them something practical. And that'll just show them so much more that you know them. Yeah.
I have a lot of Virgo,
Ooh.
including my moon and my Venus, but it's in retrograde.
Okay.
And I know that that's an interesting one, so I don't know if there's an overall thing about retrograde planets or Venus in retrograde.
Well, when you are in a Mercury retrograde, you'll probably be a little bit better than others because Mercury rules Virgo. And if you were born with those Virgo placements when planets were retrograding, Mercury retrogrades aren't going to affect you as bad as everybody else. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we'll talk after, but I love all of this. So after Virgo, we have Leo. So Leo is what I like to call, even though we already went through Capricorn, but Leo is the CEO, which stands for creative, emotional, and orgasmic. So Leo is a boss in the bedroom. Not the most kinky sign most of the time, but when they are kinky, they are so kinky, it's not even funny. They will out-kink everybody. But for the most part, they're not going to be the most kinky sign. They're very much drawn to tradition and structure, especially when it comes to relationships in the bedroom, and they want to feel secure. So when you're dating a Leo or you're in bed with a Leo, keep a real big mindset. Words of affirmation are going to be great here, and just pumping them up and letting them know that you appreciate them, that you think that they're hot. It might sound silly, but that'll go a long, long way. Questions about Leo? Stroke their ego and their penis, or vulva, or everything else in between. Yes. Yeah. Okay, if no more questions, how are we doing on time, Erin? Okay, good. I'm so bad.
Doing great.
Love it. Okay, so we're at Cancer. So raise your hand if you're a Cancer. We love our Cancers. So Cancer, if Capricorn was the patriarch, Cancer represents the matriarch in the archetype of astrology. This has nothing to do with gender or your gender. It has to do with the energy that you embody and the way that you are going to show up in your life, because this is about sun signs. But Cancer's archetype is the orgasm MILF. So a Cancer will find the orgasm in everything that they do because they're a nurturer and they'll nurture it out of life and out of others. This is an extremely sensual sign. They like to take things slow. They're going to study your body like a map. They'll probably find out things you never even knew. And they're also going to be someone who's going to bring that like fun mommy energy, which is great because this is another astrology sign that doesn't always realize it's super kinky, but is incredibly kinky. So if you've ever had a mommy or a daddy fantasy, find a Capricorn or a Cancer. It'll be very fulfilling. Any questions? Okay. Last call. Any questions? Yeah?
So I know there's like a rumor that Aries and Cancer are really bad together. Is
Oh.
that true, or what do you think?
Well, okay. It isn't the best. However, one of my dear friends is a triple Aries. Dating a Cancer. They've been together for years, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get married, and they're one of the healthiest, best couples I've ever seen. So I have seen it work. But stereotypically, an Aries will just kick the Cancer off the cliff. You know, they don't mean to. They have the hooves, and the Cancer doesn't. You know, they're just trying to like crawl around, live their nice life. It can be a tough match, especially because Cancer represents emotional intelligence. This is the most emotionally intelligent sign in the zodiac, and Aries represents the impulsive child. So that doesn't jive well because Cancer does a lot of emotional labor in this connection that may not be reciprocated, and that can be really hard. And then Aries, on the other side, is a sign of momentum and is always trying to go somewhere, and Cancer takes their time. There is no rush. Life is to be enjoyed. And so that's why they can kind of not support each other in the best way. Yeah. But can make good friends. Yeah, at least that's the only thing they have in common. Ooh, Gemini! Gemini! One of my favorite signs. The internet loves to hate a good Gemini. Gemini support group. Yeah, I literally have a text message thread in my phone called Gemini support group. But so the sexual archetype for Gemini is the mind fucker. Yep. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and mental stimulation. Gemini moves quick. They want to learn everything. And what's so frustrating is they do. And so then you get into an argument with them, but you're wrong, and they just know the facts. How? They remember everything. It's quite amazing. So, or if they don't, they have so much confidence, my God. But we can learn from those two things when it comes to Gemini. And one of the beautiful things about Gemini, since they rule the planet of communication, they're not afraid to call you on your shit. And they also know a lot of shit. So we love that. Questions about Gemini? Yeah.
It's not about Gemini. Well, sort of. You said Gemini was a sign of gayness. What's the sign
Oh,
of
yeah.
heterosexuality?
Every day? I don't know, actually.
It's like the sign of the twins in the extreme.
Yeah.
It would be like either gayness or heterosexuality.
That is sometimes what I don't like saying it in that way, because I think that we often get the like message that if you're pansexual or bisexual, you need to pick a side or you need to pick a team. And so I don't want to subscribe to that because I don't think that that's true. I think you can be on so many teams, and that's like the most beautiful part of life. But if you do have a lot of Gemini placements, you know, or you meet a lot of Geminis, the medicine there is certainly to make choices and honor those choices, but more so in the way where you're communicating it. As opposed to like having to pick something. It's more so communicating and talking and thinking about what you're doing and making sure other people know that. If you have a lot of Geminis coming through your life, you need to work on your boundaries. Yep. Yep. Any other questions? Oh, yes?
Gemini and Pisces, what if they're not confident?
Oh, the Gemini isn't confident?
What if they're insecure?
Well, you're going to have to treat them a lot like a Leo. Words of affirmation. Oh, actually, you did remind me of something. If it's a partnership where the Gemini has a penis, cock worship can be great in this situation. So communicating with your partner how they would like their body to be spoken about, and going through a nice ritual where you worship the other person's genitals, the Gemini's genitals in this example. But worshiping your lover's body or parts of their body can be really affirming and really lovely. And it can be a great exercise in learning how to communicate with each other. And I would also say something that can be very fun with dating a Gemini, especially if you want to build their confidence in the bedroom, is practice sexting. Sexting can be a really great way that we normalize communicating about sex with our partners, or our new lovers and our casual lovers. Now, it isn't perfect, and we all know that texting can go south real quick. Which is why you should also try voice notes, because people can actually hear the tone of your voice and what you're trying to say. So I would say those things too, you know, sending compliments during the day, like, oh, I bet you look so good right now. Or if like your lover slept over so you know what kind of clothes they're wearing, like, I didn't tell you this, but your butt looked really good in those jeans. You know, like just little confidence boosters. That'll be really helpful, because since Gemini is ruled by communication, they're gonna love that positive reinforcement. Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Venus and Gemini?
Oh, yes. So Venus and Gemini is a really cool placement. It means that you probably would be really good in an open relationship, or might need an open relationship. Because of Venus and Gemini, you're going to fall in love a lot. You're going to notice beautiful people a lot. And they're going to also notice you, because you have this dynamic way of communicating and showing up to the world. A Venus and Gemini, also if the non-monogamy isn't really vibing, a Venus and Gemini, again, you're gonna need to like really get good at communicating all of the things you want and need from love and lust, communicating them ahead of time, almost like a social contract, leaning into that Libra piece. And then also it's likely that you'll be really fast-paced and fast-moving. So having a partner who can help you slow down, like a partner maybe who's a water sign, very sensual, wants to give you a massage every now and then. Geminis or dominant Gemini placements need help slowing down. They're not going to do it on their own because they're too busy learning. There's too much to do. So finding out if you have that placement or your partner has that placement, either asking your partner to help you slow down, incorporating massage or things like that, or figuring out how to help your partner slow down can be super helpful. Yeah. Okay, let's see. After Gemini, we have, I swear, I totally shot myself in the foot by going backwards. Ooh, Taurus! Oh, we love Taurus. Any Tauruses in the house? Nice. Okay, so that's, oh, we have one. We have one. Amazing. I love how the only times I ask this, it's always been one. Yeah. We had one Aquarius. We have one Taurus. So, yeah, they do stay at home. They're like live streaming in their pajamas. No, Taurus is great. So Taurus is also ruled by the planet Venus. So this is another astrology sign that loves love, but they are very different. Libra's gonna fall in love pretty easily because Libra's fast moving. Taurus takes their time. So Taurus is gonna notice every cute person in the room, but they're gonna really be selective about where they give their energy and who they're gonna be talking to and why. And when it comes to sex, they're an astrology sign that's gonna take their time. Their sexual archetype is the sensual siren because they wanna lure you in the way sirens used to do in ancient mythology. They are sitting on their rock, they're looking hot, they're not coming to you. You're coming to them. But they have a beautiful siren song that'll draw you right in if they want you. If not, you'll know. And they're incredibly sensual. This is an astrology sign like the Venus and Gemini. If this person dated a Taurus, that would be really nice because the Taurus would slow everything down. And they love food. Get them food, play with food and sex. That's, just a little tip there. Questions about Taurus and sextrology? Yeah.
This is a weird question. What are your thoughts on if you were induced as a baby and so you were born close to the
Well, whenever you were born was the right time, you know? Like, regardless of the situation, even before we had the ability to induce, you know, births were not always on schedule, right? So I would say, you know, you were born at the right time, and if you are a cusp baby, I mean, that's a really fun place to be because it's almost like you have multiple identity placements that are going to activate at different times. So it's a really cool thing to step into. And especially if it's like a Taurus baby, so you're either straddling Aries or Gemini, that's a really interesting contradiction because you're going to have that slow-moving sensual nature with that fast-moving intellectual nature. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had a personal question. What is your plan to accomplish with your book?
Oh my God. Well, I just want you guys to have better sex, honestly. But I am also a professional writer, so I have another book that will be coming out at some point next year. But this is my first ever book, so you guys are all here, you know, witnessing a really special moment for me, and thank you for being here. But I mean, yeah, like for people who actually don't know who I am, you know, I'm a sex scholar. I studied human sexuality at Berkeley. I own a business called Pleasure Science, and we host events. I write articles and books, and let me think, what else do I do? Oh, I do sex coaching, Lord. But, you know, with my book and with any of the educational stuff that I do, I am just really, I don't know, I've never been embarrassed by sex. I never have. That was just something that was, I guess, a gift. And as I got older, I kept studying this stuff, and I would do other jobs, and I could do a lot of jobs because I have that Virgo midheaven, thank you. But this is the thing that I always wanted to do, and writing is my way, you know? So thank you for that question. Oh, thank you guys. So we have our final Aries. You guys waited so well. You guys get a gold star. Yep, you guys are so great. We're so proud of you. So Aries sexual archetype, your sexual subconscious archetype, is the lust detective. So Aries is a sign of momentum. They also, being the first sign of the year, represent childhood and being a child. And a child is curious, and a child is going to go for what they want and go for pleasure. It's a really, really cool placement to have if you are an Aries or have dominant Aries placements. It means that whenever you want something, you're going to turn into that lust detective. Whether it's a crush, a career, what have you, you are going to find out everything about it. You are going to get it. You may not want it once you've gotten it, but you did get it. So this is one of the reasons why delayed gratification can be so yummy for an Aries, because they're not going to do that for themselves, unless you can find a way to hack your mind. But dating astrology signs that force you to take your time can be super, super gratifying, as long as they're still able to help you meet your needs in other ways. Because it isn't obviously the best to be dating someone who doesn't meet your core needs, and that's really important. But yeah, Aries is the baby of the zodiac, and we love it for them, and they really represent honoring your impulsive desires for pleasure. So one of the lessons we can all learn from Aries, and it's an Aries season, I mean, we're about to be Taurus season, but thinking of that final gust of Aries energy, what is something that you could indulge in today and not shame yourself about? Or tomorrow, because it's late now. Any questions?
So I have a Mars in Aries and a Venus in Cancer.
A Venus in Cancer.
So
Okay,
what does
okay.
that mean in relationships?
Well, a Venus in Cancer, so you can certainly be nurturing and caregiving. You might have a little bit of trouble being too caregiving, like letting people take too much. But what's fascinating is having the Aries and Mars, that's a power placement. Aries is ruled by Mars. So a great capacity to stand up for yourself, a connection with anger. So learning about your anger is going to be something very helpful, because Aries goes after what they want, but they're really passionate. So sometimes they can flare up into anger, and it isn't the best thing for you to be doing, you know? So practicing listening and practicing boundaries, because the cool side of that is while Aries is running and going after everything and being impulsive, the Cancer side can really slow things down and almost learn how to nurture yourself, be your own mommy. You know, that's another thing. If you have dominant Cancer placements or dominant Capricorn placements, how can you be your own mommy? How can you be your own daddy? So thinking about that. And then, you know, meditating on your relationship with anger. Something that's beautiful with Aries is they'll stand up for themselves. And that's great because it can be hard to do that. But they can almost do it too well. And so thinking about picking and choosing your battles. Yeah. And we have a fun game. If we have any other questions, because we have some prizes. Okay. Ooh, love it. Here for it. Yes. But, you know, someone needs to slow the thing down. So figure that out. Figure that out for sure. And where did oh, my handy dandy piece of paper. Okay. Who is ready to win some awesome prizes? Can I get my little box of prizes from Camille? Can I get the prizes? Okay. Woo! Oh my God, we lose the prizes. Okay. I'm going to put this over here. All righty. So 4 prizes today. Good Clean Love, which is an incredible lube company. Everything is all natural. Love them. They sent us some of their premium products. So one of you is going to go home with these 2 incredible all natural lubes. And then another one of you is going to go home with these incredible all natural lubes. We also, since it is 420, we needed to have a weed sponsor. So this beautiful package full of incredible weed goodies is from a woman-owned and operated company called Venero. And Venero is here to help you acknowledge the little angel and devil on both of your shoulders, because we should be bringing that all together, right? And so in this little kit, you have rolling papers, you have a cute little joint holder, all of this stuff. I know the owner myself. She's incredible. She's a Libra, so she's good at those contracts. So someone is going to go home with these incredible rolling papers, matches. There are also some amazing stickers of an angel smoking weed, because angels do smoke weed. Yeah. Oh! Yes. And then someone is going to get a free sextrology reading. So one of the things that I do is I look through your charts and I go over your sex strengths, relationships, all different types of things. I love doing these readings. So someone is going to get a free reading, and then another person is going to get a free sex coaching session as well. So we have some fun prizes here. So are you guys ready to play the sextrology elimination game? So I'm going to need everybody to stand up. Fire signs. This means Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. If you texted your ex in the last month, sit down.
Damn it, I needed something.
I love it for you.
Is this on sun sign?
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty and no shame. I did it too. I just can't win a prize. All right, water signs. If you cried in the last week, oh yes, water signs are Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. If you cried in the last week, Stay standing because crying is healthy. It really is. Cry more. All righty. Earth signs. So this is Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. If you indulged in a guilty pleasure in the last 24 hours, stay standing. Welcome to pleasure science. Enjoy your pleasure. All right, air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. If you got into an intellectual battle recently and won, I am so proud of you, but sit down. If you won a verbal exchange, if you left the verbal exchange and you won that one,
What if you always
tell me you're a Gemini without telling me you're a Gemini. All righty, water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. If you used your emotional intelligence for evil in the last month, sit down. That's a good question. Up for interpretation. Up for interpretation. All righty. Fire signs, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. If you impulsively flirted in the last 2 weeks, stay standing. Flirting is good for your health. Okay, earth signs. If you judged how someone spelled something or used grammar in the last week, sit down. I love it. You all controlled yourself. Elevated earth signs. All right, air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. If you didn't spill the tea this week, stay standing. I mean, sit down. No, yeah, I meant sit down. Sorry. Okay. Ooh. If you do not believe in astrology, sit down. Oh, I love you guys. All right. So those were all the questions, and now we have quite a lot of you standing next, so let me think of more, because we do have a tiebreaker round, but we have too many of us to do tiebreakers yet. So, ooh, or does someone have a one to throw out? Someone sitting. Does someone sitting have like a reason an astrology sign should sit down?
And it is retrograde. We're in the shadow period.
Well, do you have?
Reminisced on their ex.
Ooh, yes. Okay, okay. What sign?
It like applies to everyone. I want to get my friend out.
Okay, then don't not your friend's sign, but think of another sign.
Okay. I would say earth signs if they fantasized about an ex recently.
Okay, earth signs. If you fantasized about an ex recently, love that for you, but sit down.
I have one.
Okay.
If you're a fire sign that accidentally started a little fight.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta think about it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Okay, let me think of another one.
Like a water sign that turned down a threesome.
I have one.
Oh,
So it's an eclipse
yeah.
coming,
Yep.
and retrograde's tomorrow.
Yep.
If you were born during, if anyone was born during a retrograde or an eclipse,
Oh, yeah, if you were born during a retrograde or an eclipse. Everyone is looking at me like, I have no idea. I am so sorry. But I love that one because you do know your astrology.
If you don't know your Venus, sit down.
Ooh. Love it, love it, love it. That's a good one. No, that's a good one. If you have a lot of air placements, but you've never wanted to be in an open relationship, sit down. Air placements is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Oh my God, I love Sue is on her phone. She's like, let's see. Let me see. Oh, I'm so proud of you. What an angel. What an angel. Okay, I think we have enough of you now to go into the bonus round. So everyone's still standing. I want you to come onto the stage, and we are going to do some astrology trivia. Oh my gosh.
I'm like so anxious right now.
Proud of it. Hi, babe. Oh my God, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. You're so cute. Oh my God, thank you. All right.
Just the one video only guy.
You got this. You got this. All right. So for the sake of time, the way this is going to go is if you know the answer to this question, raise your hand real quick. And then audience, the first person who raises their hand, you're going to help me. They're going to answer the question. If they get it wrong, we go to the next person. Okay? So question number 1. I answered this earlier. The planet Mercury, what does it symbolize in astrology? Okay, yeah. The stripes, right?
Yep.
Stripes, yes.
Communication.
Yes! All right, you get a prize.
Oh, yeah.
So stay here, stay here. Yay! All right. Hi, babes. Okay, let me think of another astrology question. Someone actually said this, so we'll see if folks were paying attention. Does Mercury retrograde start today? I think this was first raised? Okay, yeah. Yeah! Love it, love it. Okay, let's see. What does Venus represent?
Relationships?
No, but close.
Are you saying the archetype?
No, just what does it represent in astrology? What does the planet Venus represent in astrology? I think you were the first one hand up, right? Okay.
It's love.
Yep. Yeah. So you were so close. Okay, perfect. And then so we have 3 winners, and I think I have 5 prizes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for clapping prematurely. We love it. Okay. Oh my God, your shoes. Wait, we just need a moment. What is your astrology sign? Capricorn?
You hit close to home when you said Leo.
Oh my God, amazing. Okay, so we have 3 folks who've won so far. Okay, let me think of another astrology question. What is Virgo not?
Oh, wow.
Okay, I think it was, right? Yeah?
A virgin.
Yes. I love the way you hesitated.
I didn't know if I should emphasize. I was going to say like a prude.
This is also, I'm going to stand over here because the energy is madness. Okay. Okay, so this is the final winning question. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of something that isn't too hard. Ooh, we went over this. What does the 7th house represent in astrology? I think the gene or the gene? Okay, or the dress.
Our like long-term relationships.
Yes, yes. And just so you guys know, everybody is a winner because we have some amazing goodie bags that the Pleasure Chest donated. So you guys are going to go home with some prizes, but everyone is going to go home with a vibrator, some condoms, amazing lube, amazing lube. We have some massage oil that has lavender infused into it. So you are all winners. Some more than others. I'm kidding. Congrats. Okay, so literally, what is this? That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
I know. Well, thank you all. We're going to transition into if anybody wants their book signed with a specific message, I'm going to stay up here and bring your book. But everyone who got a book today, you got a limited edition Sextrology book. Each book is signed. There are only 44. And yeah, these are books that were specific to this event, the first event I'm ever hosting as an author. So you're going home with a limited edition book. And if you want me to sign a book, I'll be here. Let me give you guys prizes.